It's late and I'll try and be brief. Michael Lenz, 408 Monroe Street. First of all, talking about the process and then a comment. As far as the process goes, no one's quite saying it. The process doesn't work the way I hear in the audience you describing it. Mayor's given you his budget. It's your budget now. You've introduced it. What happens is you make amendments, you have hearings if those amendments exceed a certain amount, and then you pass them.
Right.
That's the process.
Mr. Lenz, just so you understand the process a little bit more, we're working to make sure that the budget is finalized. I don't want to make cuts to a line item that we've already exceeded that number in spending. So we need to take it back to the administration so that we know exactly where we are, because again, some of the suggestions from my colleagues may not jive with the numbers that have already been spent in that line item.
I need to give you $10 after we're done because that was a perfect setup for my next point. The process you're going through right now is a complete sham. You don't have any real numbers. You have a budget with a salaries and wages number by department. What you don't have is an employee by employee list. You don't know which salaries are people who are not yet hired. You don't know which people are on board. You don't know what the numbers are up till today. None of that's been done.
You're wrong.
And those are the numbers that you need to have in order to actually cut this. Now, let me say something based on what Ms. Zimmer said. She said we need to freeze the budget. Michael Russo picked that ball up and took all the meat out of it. He said we have to freeze the OE line, the other expense line. Ms. Mason all night has been saying, every time anyone would listen to her, that salaries and wages have gone up 74%?
72.
70?
2 in 7 years.
And how much has the tax rate gone up?
40.
Okay, that makes it look like salaries and wages.
That's not the tax rate, but
The tax levy.
Yeah.
The tax levy has gone up 40-odd%. That makes it sound like salaries and wages have gone up almost twice as much as the tax levy. That's wrong. What is the total tax levy, Ms. Mason?
No, there is no tax
Director,
right now.
would you like to?
What is the tax
I
levy?
have down here what's coming out of the 2008.
That's fine. That's a good number.
Have is 42.
That's with parking.
But that's with the parking.
Okay, but that's the revenues. That's not the tax levy. The tax levy is in the 20s.
No.
28?
28.
28.
8, but with the parking.
It was 28.
7 years ago, the tax levy was 17.
It's not 28.8. Last year's tax levy was 28.6, I believe. This year's is a little over 32.
Right, but 7 years
presented
ago,
to us.
the tax levy was $17 million. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. I will tell you. I want to explain the facts so we're all on the same page. The salaries and wages 7 years ago, can you give a guess, Mr. England, as to what they were?
I would be way off.
What are they today?
I don't know, 60 million,
I have it.
55 million.
Ms. Mason?
By the way, Mr. Lenz, just for one point of information, I also included pilots there because obviously
Okay, that's fine. That's great.
You're asking again what the salary and wages were back in 2001?
Sure.
33 million.
Okay. The salaries and wages were twice the size of the tax levy. What that means is that salaries and wages have not gone up almost twice the amount that the tax levy has gone up. They've gone up 3 times more because the base that you're calculating the salaries and wages on is twice as big. So a percentage increase translates into twice as many real dollars. What does that all mean? That means when Ms. Zimmer said, freeze the budget, and Councilman Russo turned that into freeze operating expenses, he changed it from a proposal that might actually do some good to rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. The fact is that unless we get salaries and wages under control, nothing is happening on this budget. And the other fact is that as we sit here and go through this charade without real numbers, days are passing. This is not next year's budget we're talking about. This is this year's budget we're talking about. We are hiring people. People are continuing to work. We are continuing to pay salaries, and we are losing our degrees of freedom. This budget was prepared as of August. It's unconscionable that we're standing here in December having preliminary discussions and not looking at actual numbers. Ms. Zimmer's suggestion was a very good one, but since she's new on the council, she didn't phrase it in a way that is actionable. So let me take a crack at it as someone who's been around a little bit longer. I suggest that what you do is ask Mr. England what the budgetary effect would be of hiring no one for the remainder of the year who does not currently work for the city in any department. No additional staff. To the degree people are fired, to the degree people retire, other people pick up the slack. And we find out what that is. And as far as raises go, anything that's contractually mandated, we put in the budget. Anything that is not yet contractually mandated, we zero out. And let's find out where we are. Because the fact is this, you don't need to come up, Mr. Camerano, as you well know, with $300,000 each. Tonight, an hour and a half ago, you guys just threw away another $4 million. You don't have the $4 million to put in the budget, so you all got to come up with another $500,000.
Okay.
And, well, it's not okay. I'd like to make my point.
Make your point, please.
I would like some real numbers. I would like, the first time we did this, it was nice, but this is going on and on and on. We're not looking at which positions there are to cut. We're not looking at anything in detail. Michael Russo's waving his hands around saying, everybody come up with $500,000, and then at the end we did our best.
All right.
Mr. Russo, if you're not going to tell me the truth when I ask you questions, I'd rather not address you.
Well,
And you didn't tell me the truth last time,
Please
and I would
wrap up.
not like to speak to you. It's my time, and I'm done. Thank you very much.
And you're over your time.